Okay, so I'm going to quickly go over my plan for cutting fabric. Okay, so I have 1 yard of fabric here, and I had to decide on what I was going to make with that 1 yard of fabric. So I decided I'm going to make a hot two bag or 2 of them. I haven't decided if it's going to be 2 or not, but that's the plan now. What is a hot two bag? It is a quilted bag, sometimes inside and out, sometimes just on the outside. It just depends on how I create the bag. And it is double the size of a regular makeup bag, if you can see the length. Hot Tools bag is created so you can fit your hair dryer, your hot tools, which would be your curling irons and different things like that in the attachments. And it's long enough to fit those things in here. But you can use this bag for many different things, okay? Okay, cool. Now, let's go through how I design or how I'm going to prepare to cut my fabric. So 1 yard of fabric, and it's folded with the selvage here. So when I fold 1 yard of fabric in half, then it's 22 inches this way, which tells me that this fabric was 44 inches wide. I hope that makes sense for those of you who sew. You should understand what I'm saying. 1 yard of fabric is, this fabric is 44 inches wide. So when I fold it in half, it is 22 inches this way. To create such a long bag, then I need it to cut long. So I cut this at 22 inches this way and 20 inches this way. Now I have created one that was, I cut it 20 by 20. And when I created it, the end result was about 14 inches long. And so when I did some research on some of the hot tools, some of them are about 14 inches long. And so I was thinking, okay, if you need, if you have a 14-inch long curling iron, then you need a little more space. So the 20 by 20 created about a 14-inch long. This one is 16 inches long, right? This is 16 inches long. So I did a few changes on the first one by 20 by 20. So 22, and when I boxed the corners on the other ones, which I don't have up here, is downstairs, I did a 2-inch cutout. And what does that mean? Let me show you what that means. So this is going to be a small makeup bag. And when I say small makeup bag, it's a nice size makeup bag. About this size makeup bag, okay? This one is not completed yet. And there's 2-inch square cuts here, okay? This is the lining, which I haven't cut. But this is the outside, which I quilted. And I just have in this area. It's not any, that's the lining, okay? Everything I need to create this bag is already here. I even have, let's see, I have the zipper attached already. I have my tabs on both sides already. Okay, I'm doing 2 tabs on here. And I have my handle created. And the reason I have this and it's not fully done because my sewing machine up here is having a difficult time sewing through everything with the quilting. So it doesn't, my machine here doesn't like to sew over this quilting material for some reason. But I mainly think it's this fabric that I bought from Michaels. Do not buy the Michaels fabric that costs about $2.99. Okay, I am seriously having a problem with that on my regular domestic machines. Okay, I'm having a problem with it, so I have to take it down to my industrial machine. Okay, so anyway, This is a regular one, and I already cut the corners out at 2 inches, which gives it this height. You see the height on that? Now, this one has some height, but it's nowhere near as high as this one. Now, mind you, this one has nothing in it, and it's not even completed yet. I'll show you the inside in a minute. Right, you see how tall this one is compared to this one? Well, that has to do with the boxing of the corners. On this one is 2 inches. On this one is 1.5 inches. This was enough. The 1.5 I decided was enough, right? What do I need? What am I going to be placing in this hot tool bags where I would need that large space, right? So I decided that the 1.5 inch was good enough. This one though, you know, we have makeup bottles, different things that might need this height. So this is a 2-inch box corner, and this is a 1.5-inch box corner. And what does that mean? 2 inches by 2 inches. This creates a 4-inch height in height. Okay, you gotta imagine 2 times 2, and that's what gives you the 4. 1.5. Then 1.5 will make this about 3. This will make it 3 inches high. And if we get the ruler, we'll be able to see that. Okay, see the 3 inches there? Right here, you'll see the 3 inches. It's just basic math. 1.5 times 2, and that's what that is. 3 and 2. I think I did a 2 or 2.5. No, 2. Okay, and that gives you the 4. Okay, that's how you figure that out. Whatever you cut on, and let me tell you why it's double. Because whatever I do on this side is also done on this side, and that's why it's times 2. Okay, that's why it's times 2. It's whatever's on this side is on this side. So this 2 inches cut out here, and it's also cut out on this side. Okay, when I did like that, so that's what gives you the 4 inches. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. If not, you can ask me about it later. Let's talk about this bag. So the way I create this bag and the way I'm creating this bag are different. Okay, and I'm going to show you what the difference is. When I quilted this and I put it together, I decided that I didn't want to quilt it all together. So I quilted the outside, and it's not attached to the inside. These two are not together. You see that? If I unzip it, you'll see that there's no quilting in the inside of this one. Okay? Because I'm making it different than I made that one. It kind of give it a cleaner look, especially around the zipper, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? Now this one is quilted in the inside and the outside because I quilted it together. I took both the fabrics, mixed with the batting in between, and then I just took it and I quilted it. You know what I'm saying? All together, which means these two are connected. The batting, the outside, and the inside are all one piece when I was done. Okay? And so what happens is when it comes to the zipper portion up here, I did a technique where I ended up, because I do have another one, it's downstairs, and you was able to see a little bit of the raw edge on this. So I did a different technique that I tried, and I covered the raw edge, and then I put the zipper on. Okay? So there's no raw edges showing at all. Even though you can see this, you see it's not a raw edge. So I was trying something different. And so this bag isn't complete because I have put the bias portion on this side, but I haven't finish the bias on this side, right? You can see the bias here, but I haven't placed it here yet or here. Okay, so when I finish doing that though, you notice that this side is standing up really nicely. This side is standing up really nicely. This side is why it is collapsing, because it's not completed yet. Okay, but when I finish this side, this bag will stand up with some structure, because this will add the structure that is needed. But at this point right now, it's collapsing, right? I'm gonna turn it the right side. Okay, and you see how it's collapsing? It's not too bad. Okay, this side wants to stand up because it has some structure, and this side has no structure yet. And it's because it's not done. Okay? But when I put that structure here, it will stand up better. Okay? And I only put one zipper on. It saves money. I have no problem putting 2 zippers on. But remember, everything I add to the bag adds to the price of the product. Okay? Anyway, so this is a Hot Tubes bag. This one, they're not together. The outside was quilted separately. You can barely see it, but the quilting looks nice. And the inside, so I don't really want to have to put the zipper on again, but you can see that they're not connected. The lining is not connected. So I'm doing this bag a tad bit different than the other, okay? A tad bit different than the other. And it gives it a cleaner look. And let me show you what that looks like. So this one isn't quilted at all on the outside nor in the inside. But this bag was created the way I'm doing this bag. And so when we go in the inside of this bag, okay, the major difference in how I decide to do the bag, it's a clean here at the zipper here, really nice and clean, no edges at all, no raw edges or no edges. And you can see where I put my binding there. I put something cute because I want the inside to look cute, right? So I just put the matching fabric on the inside here. And you notice that this has lots of structure, although it's not quilted. And it's mainly because, it actually is because of the way I created this, how I binded the edges. Okay, there's another way where you don't have to do bind edges. It's really not difficult for those who might be a little afraid of it, right? You kind of get away from binding like I did in the beginning. I was like, it just seems so hard. It's really easy, and it adds the structure that you might be looking for to your bag. The bag is soft. It will squish, but it will bounce back in place, okay? It will bounce back in place. So that's the difference. Is mainly how it looks around that zipper as far as I'm concerned. And I did not have to bind it. That is another way where I could have had no binding, and it would have been just clean all the way around. Like I said, the binding add the structure. That's why I decided to do it this way. So it's your choice on how you do your bags, okay? Now, let's talk about me cutting this fabric. So I have 1 yard of fabric. Purchased from, if I'm correct, I got this either from Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I can't remember which one at this point, because I ended up buying fabric from both places. But this fabric is very similar to this, just in a different colorway, as you can see. Okay, I have this color, dark blue, and I think I have I have dark blue, light blue, green, and I think there's another one. I don't see it close by. But anyway, I like that washery kind of color. You know, I think it's cute. I don't know what other people think, but I tend to think it's cute. And some people like the color green, as the people who love the color green, okay? Here are some of my other fabric that I have. I like this quilted one. I have some butterflies. I have that. People tend to like this fabric right here, and they tend to like this one right here. Okay, so these tend to be my 3 best sellers as far as fabrics right now. This one, that one, and this one. Okay, yeah, but I do have others. I have blue, flowery, and these. Okay, so here are the items that I'm going to be making with this fabric. With 1 yard of fabric, I'm going to be creating these 2 hot tube bags. I'm going to be creating eyeglass case. That's what this is. I'm also going to be creating the makeup bags. Okay. I'm also going to be creating a wristlet. And I'm also going to be creating my keychain wallet. Keychain wallets, okay? The keychain wallets pretty much can be with, I don't have a D-ring on here, but I do have them where I put them on. And you don't have to put them on neither, okay? I have a couple of different wristlets, but you get the wristlet, you can get the wristlet to match, or a wristlet that doesn't necessarily match, okay? And so with 1 yard of fabric, I'm going to be making 2 of each item that I showed you. Keychain wallet, 2 makeup bags, 2 eyeglass cases, and 2 hot tube bags. Okay? Makeup bag, hot tube bag, eyeglass case, and keychain wallets. Okay? That's what I decided. Now, 1 yard of fabric, we'll make 2 of each of those items. And how did I design? So I haven't cut it yet, but I have placed my markings. So from this way, 22 inches by 20. Let's go do a close-up from here. Now, where I purchased this from, I think this was from Michael's, because the people don't know how to cut the fabric. Okay, I lost a whole 1.5 inches because of the way they cut that fabric. You see how crooked that is? I could show you more by lining this up. You see how it's there? And then it starts coming here. And we find that it's almost 2 inches that I lost. Okay, I tried to line it up and I realized, okay, I'll be losing a piece here. So I went and made another line. Okay, so it's 22 by 20. Okay, and so this, because it's folded in half, okay, when I cut that, it's going to be actually 2 pieces, one on that side and one on the other side. Then I came here at this line and I cut 7.5 by 7.5. This is what my 1 yard of fabric will make me. Yeah, it's going to make me 2 hot tube bags, 2 large makeup bags or pouches, 2 wristlets, 2 eyeglass cases. It's going to make 2 keychain wallets. I'm going to make the tabs. And I think that's it, right? And yeah, I think that's it. So here's my space for my hot tube bags. Here's my space for my makeup bags. Let me show it to you. Put this one here. Okay. Because I'm going to be quilting it, this is the space from here to here, which means when I fold it over, it'll be the front and back, right? So when I cut this one piece, it'll be the front and back, and the other side will be another piece, okay? And then here on side of that, will be the space here, right? Stops here. This will be my strap for my hot tube bag. right? Which is this here, this handle. Okay, but on the hot tube bags, it's not as close. So I have it where you can hang the hot tube bag. Okay, this is the strap for that large one there. That's why I have to put this in that bag. Okay, so this would be the handle, and this would be the tabs, which I showed y'all the tab. I'm not sure if y'all saw the tabs on here. There's a tab that's there, and a tab that's there. Okay, and what is the tabs for? It's there to help you open the bag. And here's the tab here. Okay, that's what that looks like. So that's what this area is for. It's for the handle and the tabs. And the reason it's wide like that, y'all see that it's from here to here, but this fabric is wide like that. Okay, 4 inches, fold it in, and it makes 1 inch. Okay, it gives it some stability, just enough for you to grab to. And I could put a piece of batting in there if I think it's needed, or I could have also put a strip of interfacing right here. Okay, would it give it a little more bulk? I don't think it needs it. Okay, for the hot tube bags, I could put something in there, but I don't think it needs it. Okay, this little area right here will be for, like I said, that tab right here, or the tab here. And the other one will be a tab that goes what I call the zipper tab, stop, right? And that's what this area right here is for. Okay, this area right here, though, right, is for my eyeglass case. So this is my eyeglass case pattern, which is 7.5 by 7.5 square. And then how does that make an eyeglass case? It folds like this. And you sew it. And that's your eyeglass case. Okay? If you need something for, like you have eyeglasses that are wider, like sunglasses, right? Sunglasses tend to be more bulkier. Then you would just take it from a 7.5 to something like maybe a 8 by 7.5. And the reason being, you may not want it to be much longer, but you just want it to be wider. And the reason you want it to be wider, because here go, you may want it to be wider. Okay, sunglasses will fit in here comfortably, but there are some sunglasses that are just the way they are built. Okay, so you don't want anything that'll break your eyeglasses. Let me show you what one of these look like. I have one that's cut and not sewn yet. Here it is. Okay, see that? So this the outside, this the lining. So it started off as a square, which I do have. Let me see. I do have a square here. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I have. Like I said, I have some things that are cut out. Like, for instance, this is for a bag. Okay. This is for a makeup bag, where I already had the size cut out. Now, I'm going to be honest, like for a while when I first learned how to make these, I saw someone with this already, and I was like, wow, I want that type of pattern, because it looks simple, right? It looks simple. The issue with that is if you decide not to cut them corners out that wide. Since I've already cut it out, remember I cut things in twos like I'm about to do with this. That's how I cut out the, right? I cut things out in twos, and I make them in twos, sometimes 3s and 4s. I'm going to be honest, that's not necessarily a good thing for me to do, because I make one, and then the other one may be sitting around unfinished for a while. Now, because I do sell my items, if I like the color, I will cut it out. Okay, but somebody may like this outside color, but they may want a different inside color than the one I chose. And so I'll have this cut out, and then I'll cut the other. Now, if I hadn't already cut this out, cut these squares out, which is a 2-inch square, then I would have made some changes and only cut that 1.5. Okay, it just depends on what you're using the bag for. Do you need all of that height? And I like this height. But if I wanted it a little longer with this bag, I would have shortened this up a little bit. No big deal. Okay. So what I'm saying is, to the beginners, sometimes what you're making and what you see when people say it's easier may not be your jazz. It might not be for you. Okay. You can always just make the square, and when you decide to cut out, you could just cut this out. Okay. This ends up being a 5-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch. I'll have to measure that, but 2-inch, yeah. This ends up being 4 inches. When I could have made it 3 inches, and it would have lowered it a little bit and made it just a tad longer. Okay. So if you have any questions and need some patterns, though, instead of purchase them, just let me know. I have some, or I'll create it. Okay, so this is this 7x7. Let me show it to you. You can see it on the lining side. 7x7. Fits perfectly. Okay. And then you take the lining, you sew it right sides together to the outside. See that? Then you take it and then what I do is sew a top stitch, which is called I sew this right here. But I'm having problems sewing through this fabric. This is that cheap fabric I purchased from Michaels. Yeah, Michaels. Okay. I'm having problems. I'm having skip stitches when I sew through this stuff. It's really bad. This fabric. And then when I tried to sew it by hand, because I was like, oh my goodness, let me just sew it by hand. And I had even more problems. Which that if it's $2.99 for Michaels, it looks like a deal. Do not buy it. Don't buy it. Your sewing machine will have problems with it. At first, I thought it was my machine. I'm like, okay, let me clean it out. So I cleaned it. That didn't work. And then, so I decided, let me get it serviced. So I got it serviced. And that didn't do it. And I was like, wait a minute. So I don't have any problems with any other fabrics. But I do have problems with everything I bought from Michaels that was $2.99. And I did buy a couple of things, which were supposed to be for linings. I figured, okay, it's just for linings. What's the big deal? The big deal is my machine do not like it. My machine do not like it. Okay. And then I looked online and I saw other people. I guess maybe they don't know that it's not their machines, but people were saying they was having a hard time. And I was like, okay, it's not just me. Okay, because I'm not a professional when it comes to repairing machines and figuring it out. You know, I want to learn how to do that, service my own machine, because it's so expensive now. But I haven't done that yet, okay? So anyway, this is the outside. This is the lining. They're the same exact piece. Once people figure that out, then you'll be able to make your own patterns for pretty much anything, okay? If you can design the outside, then you can design the inside. Okay, now, so I sewed this together, and then you just take it and fold it. Okay, this is the lining, this is the bottom, and then you sew. What you can do, you can sew here, leave a hole, sew here, and then come straight up and sew that, like that. Okay, and you need a hole because you're going to then take this and flip it inside out. I'll show you that in a second. Let me show you what I mean by that. Because if you look at, I know people see me sewing all the time. You'd be wondering, what is Mom doing? It looks crazy. But let me, I don't know if I sew. Sometimes I don't close things up until they sell. But I look like I did sew this one up. And I had a hard time sewing this. I'm not sure if you can see skip stitch right there. This, I bought that from Michael's too. Okay. I'm really having a hard time with this fabric. And not until I tried to hand sew it did I realize that it's really hard fabric. Okay. It is polyester mixed with cotton, which I think it is a mixture. Well, it might be just polyester. I'm not sure. But I told you polyester is plastic. And this feels like sewing through plastic. Believe it or not, although it's a fabric, you can see them skip stitches. Okay, you see that? You can see skip stitch. Now, will it affect this item? It won't. Okay, now if it was clothing, it will. So you leave a hole here, and then what you do is afterwards you turn it right side out, and then it ends up like this, and then you take this side and just stuff it in. Now see right here where I said I top stitch, that'll keep, that stitch is on this part, and that will keep that from falling out and keep it in. So when you take this part and you stuff it in like that, okay, you take something and help get that in there. I'm going to use this pin, this side of the pin. Get that in there. Get them, then fix that like that. And you see how that inside won't fall out because it's stitched to a portion, it's stitched here. So it won't fall out and it will stay in for you like that. And put your eyeglasses in there. Okay, it's soft, plushy, and it will protect your glasses because of the batting. Okay, so it's real plushy. And that's how you make that. So I'm having a problem sewing even on this side. I'm not sure if it's the batting or what, but my machine does not really like this fabric at all. Okay, so I'm going to take it downstairs. So I have this to take downstairs. I have this to take downstairs. Everything that I can sew up here, I've done. Okay, there's no skip stitches on this. It's really beautiful. My sewing through this, I had no skip stitches because this fabric is okay. But when I sewed this one, remember I sewed them together when I quilted them. And I had a hard time sewing quilting this because there's some skip stitches. Now you can't see them on the outside, but you can see them inside. See that? See that? Now, think about that. I can sew all other fabrics really nicely, right? But anything dealing with this cheap fabric, I have a hard time with. So that's how I realized, okay, it's the actual fabric itself. Okay, and then at one time I said, okay, let me sew some of this cheap fabric to other fabric. Maybe that'll help me stitch through it. So when I was quilting, because some of this, right, this fabric here is some of that fabric, and it's, even though it's light, you see how light it is? It's okay because I'm making items, and these are linings, right? So it's not like it's clothing or anything. If it was clothing, I wouldn't be able to make anything with that. It's so bad. It's so bad. Okay. So I said, okay, let me take it, strip it up, and then make a patchwork with it. But it was even having issues when I was stitching it to other fabrics. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a patchwork and then I'm gonna make items. But yeah, when I would go to stitch over that fabric, it was skipping. Then I decided to put some interface on it, and I was like, maybe that'll help. Nothing's helping, okay? Nothing's helping. And don't waste your time unless you're going to use it with glue. If you're making something that you're going to glue together, then maybe that'll work. I'm thinking that's the only thing that'll work. Okay. So I did list some of my items for sale, and people was telling me that I was selling things from China. I can assure you that I make my I don't know, I don't know why somebody was like, "Are these from China?" I was like, "No, ma'am, these are handmade items." And she's like, "Oh, well, they look so, the way she was saying, I guess she was saying because the stitching was nice, kind of is what she was saying. It was like she was giving me a compliment while also accusing me of lying, I guess. I was like, "No, ma'am." I was like, and what she told me is that she saw some bags and some other things made of this fabric. And I informed her, yes, because they sell this fabric. If I'm correct, this came from Michael's. I think this one come from Michael's. Hobby Lobby has a nice one as well. That they was out when I ordered it. But I think this one come from Michael. So I let her know that yes, they have the people making homemade items, and that's where this fabric comes from. Now, so I don't know. I'm like, yes. Okay. Anyway, let's get back. So let's get back to this 1 yard of fabric. I quoted this. Let me tell y'all something. So first of all, quoted items will cost more. Now, although this fabric looks quoted already, I actually quoted this according to the lines. I followed the lines because I like it. And then I looked at it and I said, people might not believe that I quoted that, but you could actually feel the what you call. So I decided not to do that anymore. And then I made this one where I actually just quoted down like this. But I like this. I like where, even though this took longer, because I followed a line system that wasn't straight lines. It took me longer. I like it. Now this one doesn't look bad, but you can see the quote line. See that? So I decided to go this route, so people won't be asking me when I tell them that I quoted it. They won't be accusing me of not quoting it. It is quoted, okay? I just followed those lines. Anyway, this one has red in the inside. It goes with another set, and this one has a hot pink inside, which is that terrible fabric. Okay, it's that terrible fabric. So that's why I switched to the red. This one has a teal fabric inside of it. I also have some other things that match that. Okay, so these are my keychain wallets. What is a keychain wallet? You can hang your keychain on it. You can have, you put your wallet, credit cards, and things just inside it. And it's just something for you to just go, right? It's something, and it's quilted, but it's not quilted the way. Okay, so there's some differences. These are quilted, and this is quilted. And you notice that this has some puffiness to it. And these do not have the puffiness to it. And it's because of the different type of battings I used. Okay. I was using expensive 100% cotton batting in this, which is this here, which I wasted my money by doing that, because this is 100% cotton. This is mainly, it's for quilting. Normally it's for quilting quilts though. Something that's going to go on your bed that isn't going to have you sweating because of plastic, right? Polyester. This is 100% cotton. And originally I was using this because that's what I had. Then I purchased what you see here. Okay. This is one of these bags also. See that? This is bag. It's just not sewn because I have to take it downstairs. And so you can see the tabs here. You can just see the construction of this bag. I have a tab here. where you could put your, and the zipper I put in, okay? I think people watched me make this yesterday. Okay, I was on Sharon's channel sewing this. Okay, so I'm going to finish this. But this polyester, even though, see how this has some thickness to it, and this doesn't. You see that? So, although these, and I quilted this really pretty, some of these anyway. I quilted this with the X, let's see, this and this. See, this is quilted. I did lines down, which I don't really like, to be honest. I mean, it looks good, right? But when I was, but there's a difference. These are both the same size. This one is just puffier, and this one not, okay? So I learned there's different types of batting, okay? They have the batting that has puff. There's some that's even thinner than this. I don't think there's any thicker, and I wouldn't think I would need anything thicker, but if I wanted it real puffy, I would just use 2 layers of this, okay? So that's the difference in those, okay? And so that's what I noticed in my items, okay? So this goes with that, because that goes downstairs to finish. I actually really like that fabric there. These two. Okay. So I have a set. It'll be this. It'll be that. And I also have, show you what else I have. Okay. So these are Bible covers. And what you do is that, I call them Bible covers. You could put a book in it, any book. I made them to design for Bibles. Let me see if I have a Bible over here, or a book. I think it's, I'm making a mess. Here is one of my son's Bible. This is a small Bible, but it fits barely, right? This I made like a bookmark. It's just a cute little bookmark, puffy. It's quilted. Really, I was going to put it on the front and make like a puffy design there. But I have to sew it by hand if I decided not to do it, to be honest. Okay. So you take the book and you put that on that side. Put this side on this side. And this book is small. This is really made for one of them bigger books, but it will do the small books as well, okay? It's just not perfect for this size Bible. It's really for one of them educational Bibles, just something bigger than this, okay? This is small, okay? This is a small Bible, but these are the Bible totes. They come in different colors, the fabrics that I have on hand, okay? They go to the inside. This one I made a pocket. I was testing out pin pockets, so you put pins, 1, 2, 3 pin slots, okay? So I was testing that. I'm not gonna, I think I did it one more time, and then I decided not to do that anymore, okay? So that's what these are. This one was my first one, and I added a pin holder. So you can put pins right there. And when this goes around the book like this. Okay, you see that? And you put your pins right there, which I don't have a pin close by. But it should be able to fit 3 pens or pencils, markers right in that slot. And it'll be on your book. And the book can be longer because this is elastic. Okay? And it will be okay. Okay? So that could be in there. Or you could just buy one to put on your book like that. Okay? Let me take that off. Put that there. And I have a clip here because it's not done. I think I have to close it up. Or do I? Yeah, I have to close. I don't know why it's on that side. It should be on this side. And so before I sell anything, I do look at everything closely. Make sure there's no hanging strings on it and things like that. And that's why I keep things on it to let me know, okay, make sure you check this before you send it out. But it does match with this. Okay, and you close it with a button, which I have to resew the button on because I was taking the button off because I was thinking about putting a different button on. Okay, and here go these, and this one, although it's the same fabric, they look totally different, right? Because I use red in this one, I use pink in this one. And as you can see, I decided to try something different by adding a topper, okay, which kind of broke that up a little bit. I like it, and although it's the same fabric, they are created differently, as you can see. This one has no, what I call a topper on it, and this one does, okay? So now I have those. And then the next thing I have with this collection is my book covers. That's these. Okay, same fabrics. This is for a book with and it has a bow. The bow closes and help hold the book. You could use these for books, or you could use these for tablets, for iPads, and whatever other tablets, e-readers and things like this. So this is a small. So this will fit an e-reader, but it won't fit my iPad in it. Okay, this is what I consider a small. But the books, a small book, a nice small book will go in there. Okay, comfortably and nice. And then you just make your little pretty bow. Tie your little bow up. And then you have your book in a cover. These are larger iPads, tablets. Larger tablets will fit in. And that's that one. And they are quilted. They're soft and plush. Okay. I matched the inside with the bow. So whatever the inside there is what I put as the bow. Okay. So we have that. We have this one. This one I boxed. And what happens when you box something, it gives it some width to it. Right? So these two are the same size, but this one looks to be a little shorter. And the reason when I box it, it takes a little bit from the height, but it gives it in the depth, right? In the width. You see that? So this one, if I wanted to, I can have it stand up. Okay. And this one won't stand up because there's nothing there. You see that? So I made those, the same fabric on the outside. And I added purple to this because they have purple in here. And this one I added pink because there's pink in there. And then I have the butterfly with the blue. And these are the ones that sold right away. People tend to like this fabric. Okay. And so what I noticed is that, I don't know why, but this one looks shorter, right? Y'all see that? And I don't know why that is, to be honest. But it doesn't matter. These are book covers, and The iPad will fit. I do have 2 different sizes. Actually, these are the same size. I was wondering why. This one is extra large. That's why. Okay. And it's for books. It's for your tablets. It's for things like that. Anything that you want to put in here is good, and it will protect your books. Okay. Cool. That's a part of my collection as well, which matches the keychain wallet, matches the makeup, matches. So that's, and then I also have, tablet covers, notebook covers. You put, and it's not done yet. As you can see, this is quilted. So I quilt them first. I put a part right here for the spine of the, this is for your, what are they called? Composition notebook. That's what I created this for. Composition notebook. It's not done yet. This one's not done yet neither. Okay. And that's because I was making them and then I stopped to make, because I had some orders of something else. I do have some that are done. I think I may have sold them though. Can't remember if I had any left. Okay. And then I started working on patchworks to make other things. That patchwork. And then I had this patchwork, which I love this patchwork. Y'all see that? I love this. 3 colors. I have the blue. I have some of this. And I put that with all the blues that I had. And I have no idea what I'm going to make with this. I can make many things with this, okay? It actually might be long enough even for the makeup bag. I definitely know I can make a small makeup bag. I think it may be even long enough for the hot tooth bag. Let me see. I start making patchworks and then I just continue to add and add and add until I decide that it's big enough. I have a couple of patchworks going at the same time. Just depends. This is also for a composition notebook. Okay, and this is gonna be the inside. And the way you sew, and you can see that it is. So the way you do it, you sew the right sides together, and then I put on some flaps that'll hold the composition notebook in place, just like the Bible totes. Really easy to make. I had no pattern. I just ended up measuring my composition notebook. Some of them are different sizes, so you may have to measure your composition notebook, or if you're purchasing from me, I will have the measurements. But if you want something custom made, patchwork, maybe because of the colors, might not be able to find the colors, I might have to patchwork, put some colors together for you to make what it is that you want. Okay, I like this fabric, and I didn't want everything the same, so I added this to it. And then I stitched out some flower leaves right here. And that's for the spine. And what that did was gave it some stability with this fabric. It made it a little thicker because this fabric was thin. And I think I was having, no, I didn't have any problem with this fabric. I got this fabric from Hobby Lobby or Michael's, but it wasn't that $2.99 fabric, okay? That $2.99 fabric. Do not buy that $2.99 fabric, okay? Actually, I think, no, that's not it. This piece of fabric, wait, let me see. No, that's not the same. This is refurbished fabric right here, okay? Which I love using refurbished fabric. Fabric from items that I've cut apart and to create into something else. If I do that on my item and I use refurbished fabric on the items, I will let people know. And in fact, it usually costs a little more, believe it or not, refurbished fabric. When people sell rehomed fabric items, It costs a little more. And why? Because there's some things that adds to the time of making the product, like cutting up the fabric from whatever it was. If it was a shirt, then we have to cut it, prep it, and it's a lot that goes into it sometimes. And people, of course, we're going to add that to the price. If I patchwork, I want you to know, if you buy a patchwork hot tube bags, or a patchwork makeup bag, or a patchwork makeup, this type of makeup bag or whatever, it's going to cost you a little more, and you probably wonder why. If you sit down and watch me take little pieces of fabric and sewing them together in order to create the patchwork, then that's why you know why it may cost a little more. Okay? Because yes, this, I can create something that nobody else have by making my own patchwork. Colors that you like but you can't find mixed together, you let me know and I create that for you, and then make the items that you want. That's the good thing about creating your own things. Okay. Now, if you see something that I have here and you want to make it, let me know and I'll give you the sizes. Okay. Or I could tell you now. This is like I said, this is for my eyeglass case. It's 7.5 by 7.5 squared. My hot tube bags, I told y'all, was 22 by 20. And you can adjust if it's not long enough or it's too long, you can adjust your measurements. My large makeup bag, which is the square ones, and sometimes I do square the bottoms and sometimes I don't. These I didn't square the bottoms. But these are, my large pouches are 8 by 5.5. That's what they are. I usually use 1/4 of an inch seam allowance because it doesn't need much to put it together. And it ends up these sizes, okay? But you can make your own size. If you have a bag at home and you like the size, measure what it is this way and that way, and add you 1/2 inch if you like the 4-inch seam allowance. If you need a bigger seam allowance because you're just new to sewing and you want it to be bigger, then add you 1 inch on each side. So if your bag is, I'm not sure what the size of this is. Where's the ruler? The ruler should be here somewhere. Oh, I see it. Yeah. So let me show you something that I'm refurbished. These are a pair of scrubs. So my husband, he wears scrubs, and he has some scrub bottoms that he do not like. Here's one of my pieces for eyeglass case, 7.5 by 7. Okay, so these are brand new. These were brand new, and I cut them up. And this fabric is way better than this fabric. This is that $2.99 stuff. And even though this, oh, and this is soft too. This is a poly cotton mix, but it's on the higher end. More cotton than poly, and it's soft to the touch. But I'm using this to create items that you don't wear anyway, right? So it really doesn't matter, the softness and things like that. But you see how I had and this was brand new, by the way, unisex Dickies brand. It says soft, easy care fabric, durable, and it tells me, let me see if it tells me what it tells me here that it is 85% cotton. Wait, that can't be right. I see that wrong. 55% cotton, 45% polyester. Okay. And I've cut these open, which means I had to prep it. I cut it so I can get the most fabric out of it. This is just one leg. The other leg is over there. And you can see I cut it even along the seam here. Then I iron it. and then I decide what I'm going to make with it. That's a lot more difficult than buying a lot of fabric, laying it out, and then start cutting things. You see what I mean? So, yes. That is this is refurbished. Now, usually, if I put this in the lining of something, to be honest, I'm not going to charge more, right? I'm not going to charge more for something like this. But, because this was simple. It's brand new. I didn't really have to do no washing of the fabric or anything like that. I just wanted to keep it out the landfill. We could have honestly probably gave it to somebody, but we couldn't find anybody who wanted them. My sons didn't want them. I couldn't wear them, and because they're way too tall for me. So cut them up and turn them into something. Okay, don't put your stuff in the trash. Yeah, don't put your clothes in the trash. Either give them to Goodwill, and I'm gonna be honest, Goodwill will throw some stuff away too. So if it got stains and things like that, you might get a cut around the stains. Okay. Anyway, I think I gave you all my measurements, right? Keychain wallet was 5.5 by 4. That's what I'm cutting. And then when I make it, it should be something like 5 by 4. 5 by 3.5. It's not a big wallet at all. Okay, and the reason it's called a keychain because I have this area here where you put an O-ring or a D-ring and hook it up to a key fob or put it on your keychain, right? When you pick up your keys, you have your little wallet that's already there, and you don't need a purse. What's in here? Something's in here. Oh yeah, a card. When I make things, I like to make sure that things will fit, especially in the zipper part because I added a tab here. So you put that in, put your credit card in, zip it up. Okay, put it on your keychain and walk around with your keychain and your wallet together. You can put the eyeglass case, but you can't use these eyeglass case with this because I didn't put a tab. Okay, most people do not carry their eyeglass case with their keys and things like that. Okay, you keep these in your purse or your bags and things like that. So I didn't do that. Okay, you can see the difference between something that you might put your little makeup in, plus your credit cards and things. You put a few more items in this if you want to carry. But if you're just going shopping or something like that, you don't need your makeup or anything like that. You take something smaller like this, okay? Take something larger like this, and this will go in a bag. But you could carry this around as well. And here is the size difference right there, okay? You could put some makeup in here, maybe some deodorant in here. It's not that big, but it is bigger than this. And that's, okay? Cool. And one other thing. In order to make this key fob, I have different types of key fobs, right? I have one where it has the O-ring to it. It has, let me see, hardware. It depends on the hardware that I use. Let me see if I have one in here. No, I do not have one in here. These are for my bags. I have purse feet in here. I do have like this here. It's an O-ring with a clasp on it. See that? And I'll put that here. And then you'll take this and hook it to the O-ring. Or the D-ring. The D-ring will be there, and that's how that goes. Okay? Sometimes I add the O-rings. I'm going to be honest, it depends on the cost. Like if I price this at one thing, it may not have the O-ring on it, so you have to buy an O-ring, which is cheap. And if I put the O-ring on it, then I'm going to add that cost to it. And so it really depends on where I list it, Like, to be honest, I'm telling you, that's how you should do your things. These things cost money, okay? I bought them. I'm running out. And that's why I decided, okay, like, I'm going to put them on when people want them on. If you request them on, it may cost you like 10 cents extra. I know that's not a lot, right? But people be looking for deals. So I'll give them a deal and start taking some things off. I know that sound bad, but like, I pay for everything. I pay for the fabric. I pay for the clips. I pay for the purse feet. You know what I mean? Like, I pay for the zippers, right? I pay for everything. And so when I pay for these things, I have to add that cost to the items, okay? And so that's just the way business works. So for those, this channel is to show you how to make items, make your own items. And I'm just giving you some ideas. You could throw in an hourly pay. You could say, okay, I'm not going to nickel and dime, but what I'm going to do is I want to be paid $20 an hour. And then see how long it takes you to make a few things. And the honest truth is, something like this may take you an hour to make. That's the truth, right? It's gonna take you more than an hour to make it, and that's because the quoting, right? Quoting the items, and then from quoting them, then you put them together. These are simple to make, but still, yet the quoting is what adds that time. Okay, that's why the way I'm cutting this. Let's get to what this video was supposed to be about, because I ramble a lot and I ended up rambling. But I have my pieces marked out already. This would be my key fob. This would be the makeup bag. This portion right here, I think I already told y'all, is going to be for the handle for the hot tooth bag. And this strip right here is for the side of it. And here is my keychain wallet portion. Here is the eyeglass portion. And here's the hot tooth bag. So this is when I cut on one. When I cut one, I'll actually be cutting two, right? Because whatever I do on this side, we'll do on that side. So I have two now. My only thing I'm not sure about is if I want two hot tooth bags in this green. And so I am going to cut it. And then one, I'm going to make the hot tooth bags right away in the green. The other side is big enough where I can make two of the smaller makeup bags. So if somebody wants a smaller makeup bag, I'll be able to make two of those. Okay. Yeah, I'll be able to make two of these out of what I make, the fabric that I make one of those. So what I'm going to do, I am going to cut it. I am going to make one where I have a green one that's already done. It'll sell pretty fast. But I'm not sure if I'll be able to sell two of them. And I don't have space in my house to store things that I make anymore. It's easier to store fabric than it is to store items that are already created, if that makes sense. Look at all this stuff. Right? Look at all this stuff. Oh, and this is nothing, actually. Right? It just, the piles get bigger and larger. And then I have other things that I made and I didn't even list yet. Okay? It just gets real crazy. It's easier for me to store fabric than it is for me to store these finished items. I have like 5 of these downstairs. Okay? Then I have bags downstairs. Tote bags, regular purses, things that I made and I never listed a picture anywhere. And I have to stop doing that because it was cute at first, but I can go and pull it out and show it to people. And now it's not cute at all. Okay. It's just not cute anymore. Okay, I will be listing these things for sale. Me and online selling, that means I have to take pictures. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to do the picture taking. Okay, I'm going to take some basic pictures. I'm not going to set it up real pretty. I'm not going to put no plants around it. Like what? I'm not doing all of that. That's too much of my time, and that adds to the price. Listen, it's going to be cheaper for me to just take a picture. I'm not doing all that other stuff. Like putting a plant on side of this, is it gonna make it stand out more? I don't know. Maybe. Okay, but I'm not selling the plant. I don't even have a plant to place on side. Okay, I'm gonna put this stuff on side of my sewing machine, and then I'm gonna take some pictures, and that's what I'm gonna do. And if you have a question about the quality is there. There is no skip stitch, on the outside. I ensured that if I see that I have any problems with the stitching, I will personally sew it by hand. You understand? Or I do have another sewing machine where that's why I have to take this stuff downstairs. I have another machine, a heavy, a Juki. I have a actual industrial Juki that will sew through anything. That's where I end up taking it to make sure the quality is there. Okay. I've never had any problems. Nobody's never mentioned the quality. In fact, that lady, she was kind of insinuating that the stitching looked too nice, and that's why she thought it was me purchasing the items to sell. And I kept telling her, no, I made these things. Okay, they are handmade, me made, and that's whether she believed me after that or not. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. She did buy a scrunchie from me though. Oh, by the way, I have a whole lot of scrunchies. I was making scrunchies a few years ago, and I forgot about them. I put them in a bag. And hair bows. I put those things in a bag and forgot that I never listed them. So I have lots of things, and I need to get it out my house. So I am going to cut this. I am going to make all of these items in the next couple of days, and then I shouldn't make them until I sell some of these things. But I'm not going to be making any more of these Bible cases or totes until I'm sold out of them. Okay. I can always make these. That's no big deal. These take a little longer. They take about an hour to make. A little longer than that because I quilt them. And I normally quilt with see how there's leaves? I quilt that with a leaf, with a special, see that? And I don't know why I did that, because you can't really see it. Which is me just trying to be special. I quilted this one, you can't even really see it. But, you see that? So when I find that I quilt things and you can't see them, I realize I wasted my time. I quilted this one way. That's because I was like, okay, I'm quilting, and you can see it this way. You see how when I do it that way, I just went one direction, and it's cute. It's no big deal. This one was the first one I made, and what I don't like about this is that I use white across black. I don't like that. I actually should take that off. I wonder if I can. I can. What y'all think? And maybe if I would have did it in this direction. This is the first one I made. And by the way, that quilt that's a nice quilt as far as the pattern that I use. But I think I am gonna take that off. I think I'm gonna I'm going to pick that. I do not like that. I don't like that that white stands out that way. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna take that off. I'm glad I thought about that. I didn't, because I kept looking at it. I kept saying I don't like it. I like the fabric. I do have some more in the fabric. The fabric is okay. There some birds with cherries, right? Now, the reason it's facing this way instead of this way is because you only hold it this way, but when you use it, the Bible is in here like this. So that's why I had it facing this way. See, that makes sense. Now, I need to ask myself, though, since you hold it this way, should it be in this direction? Y'all could tell me if y'all which way you think it should be. Since the book goes in, I think I showed y'all how the book goes in already. And it doesn't have to be a Bible, but because the way I created it, it does have to meet certain dimensions. It cannot be too tall. Let me see what those dimensions are. It could be a regular book, okay? It can't be more than, that's the wrong way. Can't be more than 9 inches tall, okay? And it needs to be at minimum 10 inches when it's open, which is about 5 inches when it's closed. Let me see what did I do with that one? It's in here. So this book is see, it's okay with the height. Okay, if it's too tall, then it's going to stick out at the bottom and top, right? This does not meet, though, as far as, this is only 5 inches, but and when it's open, it's 10 inches. And what I said it needs to be, I think I said it needs to be 10 inches, but 10 inches is a little still too, so I would put it needs to be at least 2 inches on this side, 2 inches on this side. It needs to be at least 12 inches when it's open. And this is only 10 inches when it's open. And why? Because you see how I slipped that in? Let me show you. This side goes in here, and the other side goes on this side like that. In order for it to, now when you close it, it won't fall out, right? It won't fall out. You could put this size book in there. It won't fall out. It's cool. But when you open it, it's still good. It's just upside down. I have the book upside down. But it's good. It fits in there. You want something that fit a little snugger, then make your book. But there, this is 10 inches. It fits in there pretty okay. Okay. Don't go smaller than this, though. You don't want to go smaller than this 10 inch. Okay. So any book, it doesn't have to be a Bible, that's not taller than 9 inches, and you want it minimum 10 inches open. Okay. Okay, cool. Now, if y'all want to know how to make these, let me know. It really was not difficult at all. If I'm correct, I did not have a pattern, so all I do is measure. This is 15 inches. This is 15 inches this way, which means I probably had 16 inches, right? 16 inches. And I already told you this is 9 inches, which means I had a ½ inch on each side, or at least 9.5 inches. I usually sew with, like I said, a 1/4 inch. I could tell that I did a 1/4 inch. I can feel how small that seam allowance is in there. And I usually sew with a 1/4 inch. What you can do is take a book. I could make one for this. And what you would do is you want to double what this is. And we already know that this is 5. Actually, it's a little more than 5. About 5 1/4. okay, which makes it when it's open, you'll measure, and that's how you will get your width. And as far as the length, as far as how tall, you can make that as tall as you want. So it can fit more than one book. But if you wanted it particularly for this book or a book, then measure the height. This is 7.5, and add your, what I would say for you new beginners, add a 1/2 inch on each side instead of a 1/2 inch on each side. I will add a 1/2 inch, so I can get a 1/4 inch on each side. But for newbies, new beginners, sewers, I would go no smaller than a 1/2 inch, and maybe even do a full whole inch on each side. That gives you some leeway. And other than that, what this is it had this side fabric, which I quitted. The button came off, which is good. Let me put that button to the side. I had this piece of fabric in this direction, right? I quilted it, and then I squared it up to make sure it's the size that I want. And then I took this fabric here and made it the same size. And then I took 2 of these, right? So with the way the setup is, where you have this, then you take the two smaller, put it on top, and then you take the long one and put it on top of that, right? All right sides together. And then you sew around it, and you leave an opening, which I'm not sure if I closed this one up or not. I may have closed it up. Yeah, I closed it up. You leave a small opening somewhere at the top, bottom, usually away from these, because you want to sew this down. So the opening, my opening probably was here. I'm going to be honest, my opening was small. Should have had it wider, but I'm used to getting in those tight spots. Through the opening, you start to turn it right side, the side that's in on the outside, and then that's how you make this. It's that simple, okay? If you want something to hold a button, you put that in where you want it, and then eventually, the button fell off just now, but you put a button there. I hand sewed it, and what that does is if you do have a bigger, thicker book, you could be able to use this to close it. But the book will not fall out because you have these 2 sleeves that holds the book in place. You don't really need anything to close it up. You can also use this for your tablets, okay, where you may want to have something to close it up. You have to make sure that, and remember your tablet don't fold over, so one side have to fit your tablet. You have another side that fits other things. You can design whatever you want, however you want. You do not need people patterns, okay? And you could purchase people patterns if you want. I'm not too keen on purchasing patterns. I'm going to be honest with you, okay? Once you know how to create certain things, you can make anything you want, however you want it, okay? And you don't need people patterns. Like I've seen people sell patterns for something like this, and then somebody else will sell a pattern, but the difference would be that there's 2 different fabrics. One where you could put one piece of fabric here, and one where you put a piece of fabric there. And think about that. It's the same. So all you have to do is, if you want something like that, just take a piece of fabric. Let me see if I have one. Like this, right? Take a piece of fabric. And let's say I wanted one side this color, the other side this color, right? So what I would do is I would take, let's make this one layer. One layer of that, one layer of this. I will make them larger than the size that I need. Then I will cut them both like this. Bam! And then I would take 1/2 of this and sew it to the other half of this. Sew it together. And then that's how you get 1/2 this color, one half the other color. It's that simple. The way you would do it, if you're doing that, then there's some things you do different. Because see how this is one fabric, you wouldn't be able to really do that in what I just mentioned, where you have one half one color, the other half another. You would end up doing a front and a back, and then you would piece the front and back together to make one like this. Real simple, okay? People need to learn how to pattern themselves. And I'm not saying, like, the pattern, indie patterns is getting ridiculous, okay? The pricing, I've seen people sell an indie pattern for $12. Now, this is the thing, right? $12 for an indie pattern. That only gives you one item. It's not like it gives you a pair of pants and a shirt and a scrunchie, right? You pay this $12 to $20. I've seen some for $20 for a pattern where these people not even printing the pattern. It's not even a printed pattern. I understand if it's a printed pattern, you got a printed pattern where you're going to ship it to me. That's a little more understandable than you having created a pattern. You put it online. I buy it, and I have to print it, and I have to tape it together, and all of that. And you ask me for $12 to $20, and no, I'm not doing it. Okay, I'm not doing it. And so for those who don't want to do that, hit me up. Tell me what you want. I'll help you create the pattern. Okay, help you create the pattern. And I'm not hating against the indie patterns. I'm saying that they are greedy, and I'm not going. I'm not doing it. Even Simplicity and McCall's and Berta and all of them, there's times where they sell their patterns for $5. And normally they patterns don't have just one piece. They have a B, C. Some of them you have D's, right? You were able to sew up this dress with this type of sleeve, the same dress just longer with a different type of sleeve, and you know what I mean? And you get all of those, and you might pay $5.99 on sale. When it's not on sale, then it costs a little more. Now when the patterns are not on sale, now you might pay $12 for it, right? $12. That's not on sale, and it comes with all those pieces, design choices. These indie pattern people want you to pay $20, $10 to $20 for one pattern. And, it even get to where they want to charge you for each individual size. There's one, I'm not going to mention names, but you have to tell them what size you want of that pattern. And so they're not even giving you multiple sizes in the same one garment. So suppose I want to sew one up for me now, and I lose some weight, and I end up wanting to sew it again. I have to go and buy it again. That's crazy. And that's when you have to learn how to size up. And there's a lot of people on here who do not know how to sew. Like I'm listening to them. They making the items. They're using the pattern. They're making the items, and the items still don't fit them. The item is too tight or too short and too this and too that. I'm like, even if you have a pattern, you still need to know your measurements. And you need to know all of your measurements. And the measurements that they know they're horizontal, right? They know how around their body. They know the chest and they know their hips, right? But the ones that's messing them up is not your chest measurement and your hips measurement. The ones that's messing you up is that you're not taking from your shoulders to your bust, and from your bust or your shoulder to your waist. That's what's messing you up with them patterns. You don't know that you need to shorten that pattern, or you might have to lengthen that pattern because you don't know the length of certain things. Some people have long torsos. Some people have short torsos. Some people, like if you're bigger, you can't take a pattern from a slender person and just make that pattern wider for them. You cannot do that. But that's what they do. Okay? That's what they do. They take a woman who's about 5'5". She's gonna be the average height. And then they start her at, maybe she's a size 0. She might be a size 6. It just depends, right? She's a size 6, 5'5" in height. A shorter person is not gonna be able to fit that item. And even if you're shorter, you got to change so many things in that pattern because your from your shoulder to your waistline gonna be shorter than that person who's taller, right? And then it's just too much. So you can't just adjust your bust or make sure that your bust fit in there and then start. You can't do that. That's not gonna look, it's not gonna come out where you could fit it. Okay? It's too much, too many differences. So you do have to know your vertical and your horizontal measurements. You need to know because on the pattern, that person may have a short torso or a longer torso than you. You might have to take a couple of inches off the not the width, but the height. And so if you don't do that, that pattern is never gonna fit you. And that's why back in the day, patterning used to be it's not the same as it is today. Patterns didn't used to look like the patterns of today. And I've seen some patterns and they didn't even give you no instructions because if you were sewing, that meant you already knew how to sew. Okay. And today when they tell you how to do things, there's many ways of putting a zipper in. There's many ways of putting a yoke in. There's many ways. So based on your fabric would be the and the style would depends on how you put that zipper in and how you set up that yoke, how you put that button placket in, right? And that's the things that we don't know anymore. Okay. Unless you go to fashion school and maybe they teach you that. Go to contour. What is it called? Contour. Contour sewing is where you sew with hands. You know how to make things particular. You know how to make your own lace. Like you know what I mean? Like the things that you add to your products. That's gonna be completely different than other people. I would do that. And patchworking is one of those things where you making your own fabric with fabric, right? You're making your own fabric with fabric. That's called patchworking. And yeah, that's the closest I could come with making fabric. Okay, I don't knit. I did learn to crochet years ago. It looks like it's fun, but the thing is, you just can't make as many things. People say, "Oh, yes, you can't bomb." I seen a shirt, crochet shirt, and I'm thinking, I think that was knitted, but you can't crochet. You could crochet a sweater. I don't know if you could crochet an actual shirt, but you could crochet something that you pull over your head to wear. Okay, and I think it'll be cute. Okay, it'll be cute. I'm gone, y'all. I'll see y'all later. I hope y'all enjoyed the conversation. I didn't read the chat because y'all, I don't know if y'all saying anything, but I gotta go. Now I may go live on the other channel when I wake up, which will be probably early morning but it is close to my bedtime. I know people don't think Mom go to sleep, but Mom just go to sleep early because she wakes up about 3 a.m. And normally, these days, I've been going on other people channels that early. Okay, I do have some sewing that I did not do. I have to sew up this. Yeah, let me get that. I had it piled already. I will be posting this stuff. I think I'm going to put it on the community tab. Take some pictures and put stuff on the community tab. Give y'all the first option before I post it other places. Let me tell you, when I do post it here, it is cheaper here than when I post it other places. Why? Number one, because I don't have to pay any website to sell anything, right? So that means my prices will be cheaper. Number two, I don't have to share in money, right? If you pay me through Cash App, then I'm not paying anybody to process payments, right? So you end up with a cheaper price. Now, some people feel safer going through like another site, and I get it. Where I don't have to know your name and all that stuff. I don't care about your name. I only care that you paid for the item and it's going. I'm not even gonna be the one to ship it out. The honest truth is, my husband, he's the one who gonna say that I got an order. He's the one who's gonna tell me what it is. I'm gonna look, see what it exactly it is, and then he's the one who's gonna ship it out. I don't go out much, so yeah. You don't even have to tell me who you are on the internet. Like, you don't have to tell me what your internet name is. You could just say, hey, I would like to order this. And bam, here you go. Like, for people who worried about doxing and things. I've been on here a long time. I know I've sold over 100 things since I want to say 2019, but I think I started selling the mask in 2020. I think that's when I started selling masks in 2020. Before that, I used to sell things online, but not on YouTube. Okay. But 2020, I was selling lots of masks, and then I started selling lots of other things. And nobody ever got doxxed by me. Okay. Like, so, but if that's what you're concerned about, whatever I don't sell here using that, I will post it probably on Etsy, which I do not want to do. I don't think y'all understand. Your cost gonna go up. Whatever Etsy charged me, I gotta add to the product. And then they want me to offer free shipping. But I just want y'all to know, the shipping not gonna be free. I'm gonna throw it in the price of the product. I'm not paying for shipping. You know what I mean? I'll pay for shipping, but the price will be added in the product. I want to be able to sell. Now, there's some people I want to contact, because I might sell some things, and if you want SBG on it, or that, which is Sharon, he might want me to make some things for him so he can sell to his people. Well, I've already come with a price where he would make money per item I sell. So I've been thinking about these things, thinking about some things for women who might want the SBG. I will I want to be able to I'm going to be honest, I don't want to put my name on these things. That's the only reason. I think y'all may have seen, and I'm going to take it off. That's why it's not on the rest. Let me show you. I got to find it. It's one of my, I know it's a pink one. No, it's not pink. I saw it. And the only reason it's not on the others because I decided not to do it anymore. It has a silk space on it. And it's for me to add like Bomb Squad or Nova, whatever my company name is, right? And it's like right in a space like this. Can't find it. It's somewhere around here. Not too many things here now, y'all. But anyway, I put it there, but I had no name on it because the way I'm gonna put the name on it is let me see, where is it? Oh, it's not pink. So you see, I put a thing right there. I sewed it on, and then I'm gonna put the my label there, right? Put whatever I decide the label will be. I was gonna put it right there, but then I decided that I don't want to do that, so I didn't put them on the rest. I decided that if I decide to put my label, then I have a Cricut and vinyl, and I'll do it that way. But the truth is, I prefer people to put, like, do your own monogram. Like, why people need to know that you bought it from me? If you want a custom item for me, then put your family logo on it, your monogram, right? Your last name. It's something I just recommend that people get away from buying other people things with their name on it. You making them famous. You walking around with their names on you, advertising for them when you can have your own monogram. That's what people used to do. They used to have you could come up with a family crest or family logo, right? And put your own. If people start doing that, then we'll get away from these people who don't care nothing about us, just getting rich off us. They don't care to put something out that you might like. They're gonna put out what they like in their colors, and you just gotta buy it. I'm thinking that's crazy. Okay. And so I'm going to unpick this off of there. I'm going to take this off. If nobody want their label on it, I will put something on it. You know, make it cute, like a little bomb or something. If any of you want to sell my products, I'm setting up something where you can make money. You look, you make the sale. I ship it out to them. And then you make a percentage. And it's not even a percentage. I got flat rates on certain things. Like if I sell something like this, like let's say I sell this for $20, you make $5. You made the sale, right? You made the sale. It'll go through you. And then you make $5. You don't have to do nothing. I do everything. You just connect me with the people and you get $5. I decided I'm going to do that for everybody so everybody can make money. I can make money. We all make money, baby. I'm gone. Okay? For those who don't sell, you don't buy, you don't sell anything, you don't create anything, you still can make money. Okay? And you don't have to go through no t-shirt people because I do embroidery. I make t-shirts and I'll put your name on it. Okay? And we can share the cost. Yeah. If you want to make more than $5, though, then I got to sell the product for a little more. I got to, okay. But I think that's way better than going through some of these sites where you can't even see what the product is before you sell it, right? I actually, my son bought a shirt off of somebody, and when it looked like it was a T-shirt, and it looked like it was gonna have a nice big picture in the front. But when they got it, the picture was small. And that's because the people who selling the things, they putting their logo on these shirts and selling them, but they don't never get a copy. They don't never buy a shirt so they can see what it look like so they can make adjustments. I've seen some people in this space who we deal with, and they're selling items, but I can tell that when you buy it, it's not like you got a mug with black. The mug is white. You got black with your initials on it. That's meaning that it's going to be a white mug with black vinyl to make that big black space. And then they're going to have those initials. It's not going to look good at all. Okay? It's not going to look good at all. Instead of having the mug just be black and put your logo in white, right? But I understand why they wouldn't know that because they don't make items. So they just putting their logo on things and saying, hey, I sell products. But what I would suggest they do is buy at least 8 products that they're selling. Buy it so they can see what it look like. Okay? That's what I would suggest. Anyway, any patterns you need to learn how to pattern shirts or anything, dresses, anything that y'all want to see me pattern, I don't have no problem showing you how to do that. In fact, with your measurements, if you want to see me pattern something, let me know, and then I'll have you send me your measurements, and I'll walk you through making that item with your measurements. There are a lot of people who kind of show you how to pattern yourself. The one thing I don't know how to do, because I don't even have a form, is draping. I don't know how to do that. It looked like it's simple enough, I guess, right? Except you have to have a one of those, what they call them, like a mannequin. I don't know what they call it. You have to have one of them in your shape and in your measurements. And if you don't have that, I'm not sure how you would drape to create that. But with a ruler, a pen, a pencil, that's all you need, and your measurements. and you hurry up and you make that. It'll come out better than anything other. You have to have your measurements, and then yeah, you can make whatever you want that way. I think they call it flat patterning, right? Draping it looks cool. But I see when people drape, especially when they drape with wovens, they drape it, then they have to take it off, and then they lay it down and pattern it that way. And I'm thinking, wait, what? Why did you drape it on that item, and then you have to take it down, and then still have to? So they make a pattern piece just on the form, right? On the form. Am I pronouncing it right? On the body form. They put it there and they mark, and then they take it off, and then they put it on a piece of paper. And they cut it. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, why are you doing all of that up there when you can take your measurements right now? Like, I know my measurements. I don't know them right now, to be honest. I haven't taken my measurements in like a year. But if I know my shoulders, right, width, say my shoulders is 16, I would put here, and I would make a line from 1 to 16, right? That'll be my shoulder. I know that a shoulder slope on a woman is an inch down. A shoulder slope on a man, right, could be an inch or more or less. It depends on how broad his shoulders is, right? But you take those measurements. It's easy to take. So the shoulder line, you go down. On children, you only go down a half an inch. On infants, you only go down a quarter of an inch. So that's the shoulder slope, right? And then from there, you go down to, if we talk about infants, you go down to their chest. Their chest and their belly are the same. So you're going to go all the way down, right? It's so easy to pattern for infants. It's really easy. Now for teenagers, it's easy as well until they start developing, right? Little girls start budding and things like that. So now her chest and her waist may be a little different. It's really simple, y'all. It's so simple. I think, and so what is the difference between a pattern and a block? When people say, hey, let me show you how to make a block. Well, a block is your measurements and everything created with no seam allowance. And so that's a block. And the reason you have no seam allowance, because you may end up, you could create lots of different styles from that one block. It's really just your measurements in, like if you make a shirt, you have a shirt block, right? And with that one shirt block, you could then start making all types of shirt with that one shirt block, because it just has your measurements. it creates the things, the armhole and things like that, so you don't have to recreate those things again every time. And then you can start making long sleeves, short sleeves, puffy sleeves, right? And things like that. You change it up that way. You could change up the neckline, whether it's a boat neckline, a V neckline. You know, you can have a zipper. You can have a button placket. You can have just a placket. That block is just your something that you want to create in your measurements. And that's why it has no seam allowance, because if you sew this in knit fabric, then what you're going to do is end up doing negative ease. If you sew this up in woven fabrics, then you have to add ease, right? You add ease, and then you add your seam allowance. A lot of people who I watch, they think they can sew. They sew up knits, and they use the same measurements that they have, and then they wonder why the knit is not fitting, because knits stretch. And if you want it form fitting, then you have to take ease out. You don't add ease. A lot of patterns that's for wovens add ease, and I'm talking about a lot of ease. If you buy a pattern from the big 5 or 4 or 3, I don't know how many they are now, they add 6 inches of ease in a lot of cases. It'd be a lot of ease. And that's also why when you sew a garment from a pattern, it may not fit you, because you didn't read the end measurements. You just went based on the thing in the back. It told you how many yards of fabric you need, right? They told you, oh, this is a 16 and this is what, but they got something within that pattern that shows what the ending measurements are. So even though it may look like you need to cut a 18, you may not need to cut an 18. You may just need to cut, you know what I mean, the 14. It could be that big of a difference because of the ease. And then you have to read to see how much ease they threw in there. You need to read certain areas so you can know, hey, they threw in 6 inches of ease. And what is ease? Ease is so you can breathe in the item. So that's why people make the pattern and then they can't wear the pattern. It'll be too tight. Why? Because the ease, they done took the ease out, because they looked at it and they saw that instead of them cutting the 14, they decided, oh, I don't need a 14. Let me get this 12. But what they didn't read is to see whether how much ease is added or not added. So now they can fit into that garment, but they can't breathe in it. They can't move in it. So really it's just too tight. Okay. Or when you're making a knit item. Okay, you're making a knit item and you're not looking at the right area. You're just looking at the size. And what ruined us is fast fashion, where you go in the store and you pick up a size 8 or 16 or 12 and you just get it. But the thing don't fit you anyway, right? It's either too tight or too loose, right? Or too baggy in certain areas. Or you have to do like I've always had to do, buy a shirt. It could be a 2-piece, where it's a pants and a shirt. But I have to get the shirt in one size and the pants 2 sizes larger, yo. Okay. That's crazy that I had to do that, but I always had to do that. So you go in the store and you got these mismatch, what they call it? What is it called when it's a pair? When it's a set? I guess a set. You have mismatch sets. And the shirt might be small, and the pants, you can't find the small pants because somebody then took the small pants, right? or you can't find the larges because somebody that took all the larges and left you with either small pants or extra large pants. In the women's section, you find that a lot when